What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. Lots of people have been asking for the updated Hunter build that I've been going since that work in progress build that I posted up right when the Hunter launched. And I haven't put out a new video because I haven't really changed a whole lot. I've made a few tweaks here and there, however, nothing major. So this is a hero damage Hunter, and let's hop right on into it. First off, since we're hero damage, we're going to be focused on all hero damage mods. So I'm using swap damage, healthy power, and damage buff chip. Now, the Hunter gets 100% chance to crit with their buffs. So with that in mind, you don't want to focus crit chance, you want to focus crit damage on everything that you can. So like your godly roll on your items, you'll want to be hero crit damage. Now, with that in mind, you might ask, well, why not use swap crit damage? Those mods are actually super cheap, and that is an alternative for you. It's not going to be as strong. The gain that you get from swap crit damage is actually going to be less of a gain than what you would be losing from getting rid of hero damage off of 4 of your armor slots. So you can use that swap crit damage, however, you're going to want to go all hero damage if you're really focusing on maxing it out. In addition to that, we've got some survivability mods. We've got pest repellent for the headpiece, less damage from flying enemies, and then we got snakeskin armor from the Wild West map, 50% more health and 15% less damage. Both of these mods are really pretty much optional. I would say take the snakeskin over anything, as it's just so powerful and it can be useful anywhere in the game. The pest repellent is certainly optional, so if you want to get a little bit more damage out of the deal, you can get pest repellent and throw it in there. Now, as you see here, I don't have swap damage on these. If you do use another mod, you're going to want to make sure to put swap damage on it. As you see, the swap damage chip, hero damage for 34 seconds after swapping in. That time, of course, does stack. So by getting swap damage on as many pieces as you can, then you have to swap less frequently. Right now, I've only got swap damage on 2 pieces, which is definitely a problem. But the fix for that is I just have to swap every 68 seconds. So as long as I swap every 68 seconds, I'm still getting the full hero damage from those swap damage chips. And then you've got the fragile chips. Fragile is mathematically the best in slot for a hero damage build. However, remember, it shuts off when you take damage. Now, I personally take a lot of damage. I'm going to get hit all the time. I like to play mid-range. With that in mind, I do soak up some shots. So I personally will not use Fragile because it's going to be down the majority of the time. Fragile does have a big penalty with it when you do take a hit. For rings, you can go with Ring of Piercing for most situations. Ring of Poison is going to be good for bosses. As you see, I've got this one with ability power. I would much rather have hero damage as the main roll. However, this one rolled naturally a 10 out of 10, so with that in mind, I'm just using it anyway, just for the fun of having a 10 out of 10 ring that is really completely unnecessary. And then your weapon. The weapon choice, you do have many options. I'm using the Earth Guardian's bow the majority of the time. We're going with Focus Power, Bouncing Phoenix, and Lucky Strikes. Once again, our godly roll is hero crit damage. There are, like I said, lots of options on weapons. I will put a link to the latest weapon video I did after the last round of nerfs. So that will be posted up in the cards up above. The Earth Guardian's bow is the highest single target damage bow in the game. Not always are you going to be looking for single target damage, but if you're wanting to maximize your single target kill, Earth Guardians is the one you are going to want to go after, and it is going to come from the Hidden Caverns boss. Or, of course, you can buy it from other players. And now let's hop into the shards. Now, before we do that, remember, the deal with the Hunter is you get 100% uptime on your buff. If you see the buff up top, versus on my toolbar, we can keep that buff up 100% of the time. However, it is going to require a few shards to get there. Starting off with the head, we got Inspiration, Exsanguination, and Hasten. Exsanguination is kind of arguably unneeded. You could probably go without. However, I'm doing it. It keeps my blood full, and I'm always able to cast whenever I want to. In the gloves, we got Critical Empowerment, Wound, and Long Shot. Now, Wound, why would you say? That's an ability power shard. However, remember, wounded enemies take 15% more damage. So this is a damage debuff. You're going to want to use Wound on every Hunter build, whether it is hero damage or ability power. On the chest, we're going just raw damage. We got Ambush, increase hero crit damage by 40% while Cloak is up. We got Coup de Grace, increase your hero crit damage by 50%, but reduces your crit chance. No downside, because remember, we have a 100% chance to crit. And then Power Gambit, increases your hero damage and damage taken from enemies as well. So just raw power stacking in the chest. And then in the boots, we've got part 2 of keeping that buff up, which is the Extended Cloak. Now, if you don't have Extended Cloak gilded, but you do have Inspiration gilded, it is real close. I mean, depending on how the damage shots land, it's like milliseconds from you being able to keep your buff up 100% of the time. However, if you get Extended Cloak gilded, all that gets, there's no mystery. It's just always up 100% of the time. And then we're going with Speed Boost and Bunny Hop. In the weapon, we got Bloody Strikes, Charged Shot, and Sundering Blow. Now, Sundering Blow is one that is an incredible general use. It's great in a group. It's great versus bosses. However, there is another option that is a little bit stronger. That's going to be Stand Your Ground. Now, the problem here, of course, you got to be standing still. So you got to be consciously ready to use Stand Your Ground. Particularly if you're playing in a group where one of your teammates is already sundering, you can swap out for Stand Your Ground and get the job done there. And then when it comes to the pet, the best pet for personal use is going to be Cyclone, the Automeow. Of course, you get the discount budget version of Cyclone with Sandstorm, which you can roll on any earth damage pet. So any pet at all, if they have earth damage on them. Do I have an example here? Not handy. Any pet that has earth damage on it as the damage type, it can roll Sandstorm. However, you're really going to want to get Cyclone. It's way better. Now, what kind of damage output can you get to on your Hunter? Well, let's just look at, first off, just with our buff and just spraying. Doing nothing else but our buff. You see, we're going to pretty comfortably stay over the 20 million DPS mark in the current configuration. Of course, that's going to be much higher if you get rid of some of the survivability I'm using and go with more hero damage. And then also remember that if you add in that wooden stake, you're going to get a just straight up 15% damage increase. So when we take a look at wooden stake in the mix, let's go ahead and slap it out there. The other benefit about wooden stake is it does not interrupt your shot. So you can just pop it off as you're firing. It's not going to interrupt, and that's going to give you a little bit of a damage boost. As you see, it's not significant, but it is enough to be worth using. So you're going to want to do that. Now for our Ascension. In the utility category, of course, the only thing we have that affects our damage is hero crit chance and hero crit damage. You don't even need to put the points in hero crit chance, so hero crit damage first. Run speed, of course, is a huge quality of life, so you decide when that one goes in. In the offense category, it's always nice to throw points into the areas that don't require many points. One that you do want to keep an eye on, though, is cloaked crit damage. With our buff time being 100%, this is a raw damage boost. So straight up 20% increased damage by going into cloaked crit damage. After that, it is going to be a combination of hero health and hero damage, where you pick your own. Hero damage, of course, is going to give you more power. Hero health is going to give you more survivability. So your call there, but make sure you go into that cloaked crit damage first thing right out the gates. The Hunter is definitely not the top DPS character in the game. There's no doubt about it. Maybe one day the Hunter will get a quiver or something as an offhand, so it is able to compete with heroes like the Barbarian or the Mercenary. However, for range DPS, it's super fun. You can use your cloak to hide from assassins, which is pretty awesome as well. And it's got a pretty fun loadout and defenses. So for me, the Hunter right now in 2024 is without a doubt my favorite DPS hero to play. But that will do it for now. Thanks an absolute ton for watching, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.